Hello everyone, it is Jayden and welcome to The Alpha, the show where we talk about the hottest topics in pop culture and sports. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit that like button on the video, and if you enjoy my commentary and myself truly as always, be sure to tap that subscribe button and to hit that notification bell to get notified when all my videos go live. I love you guys so much. Peace, love, and positivity always, y'all. See ya.
I haven't been able to talk about it because I didn't really have no words on it. But recently, I had a little watch-a-thon, movie marathon with my girlfriend, and we watched the James Bond films. Y'all know recently the news that Amazon is acquiring the rights to the James Bond franchise, and they are going to be directing and making the next James Bond film. And I really it's been a long time since I watched the James Bond films because when the last one came out in 2021, I remember not liking it as much. And when I went back and watched them, all five, with Danile Craig specifically, the GOAT, the legend, it's a great series, y'all. It really is. It really was. They were 3 out of 5 for me. 3 out of 5. And the other two, they're still watchable, but they're not the best. And they skipped each one. Casino Royale was great. Skyfall was great. And at first, I said it was not that good when I first watched it. I remember saying that when I first watched it. But after watching it, I actually just watched it last night. It was a good film. It was a good movie. Compared to the others, it was a good movie in my opinion. I think Spectre and Quantum Solace really was a just meh. It wasn't bad. It wasn't good. It just left you in comparison to the other ones. It was like a meh. You know, you were going to watch it obviously because you're a James Bond fan, and if you're a James Bond fan, you're going to enjoy it anyways because it's Danile Craig, it's James Bond, it's the Aston Martins, it's the car chases, it's the fight scenes, it's the guns, and it's the iconic. You know what I'm saying? Hey, I mean, I really just didn't really grasp how good the 007 series was under Danile Craig. I am going to end up looking at James Brosnan and some of the old ones as well because I'm interested to see how just good they were compared to Danile Craig's. But I'm laying out the foundation. So, there's been a lot of talk about who the next James Bond is going to be. And I got a couple of names and a couple that's interested me. But let's get a little bit of background here. We got Amy Pascal that's going to be producing it along with David Heyman. Amy Pascal was responsible actually for the first 3 007 movies in production, as she's been the main focal point and main leader in the Spider-Man trilogy with Tom Holland. David Heyman's had his little fingers in a couple of things, a lot of things actually. He's actually produced Barbie, which made a lot of money, obviously. Wonka, which I heard was pretty good. And he had his hand in the Harry Potter series to a certain degree. But I got a list of names that I am interested to see in playing James Bond. Now, do I think one is probably the best option? Yes. But I have to be honest, just having to fill the shoes of Danile Craig is going to be hard. Danile Craig was the man, y'all. I'll be honest, when I was watching him these last couple weeks and watching the watch-a-thon that I had and just consuming the James Bond films, it amazed me on how well he was in that role. The charisma, I mean, just the charisma. I can't really think of words, man, because it was just so breathtaking. Words can't really just define and exemplify just how good he was at that role. He was just great. The way they wrote his character, he was just a stud. He got the women when he could get the women. He was fighting everybody when he needed to fight. I mean, he was just great. Great acting. Great chemistry with a lot of his supporting actors. It was just great. I think they laid out a great foundation with his era, too, of cast members. Great supporting cast, as I just stated. They were just great movies. Great movies, and I would cherish them for the rest of my life. I think I am collecting movies, so I think I'm going to buy all 5 of them on DVD for sure, because we know the state of the physical copy of things going on lately in the entertainment industry. Physical media is not going to be a thing in a couple years, so I need to jump on that as soon as possible. But some interesting names that I would like to see as James Bond, even though it's going to be some tough shoes to fill. Number one being Henry Cavill. It is the internet's number one candidate, I can say, because a lot of people really think that he should be the next James Bond. He's already British. With my James Bond, he's got to have that same charisma that Danile Craig had. He's got to be able to just be the one. He's got to get the women. He's got to be a bad you-know-what. And then he's got to be able to mingle along with his supporting cast and have great chemistry. We all love some Henry Cavill. We know what he's done with Superman. We know that he should still be Superman to this day. I haven't seen Henry Cavill outside of that role. I haven't even seen him in Mission Impossible. But from what I've heard, he was great. Henry Cavill as a person, in real life, he's delightful. Everybody loves him. So seeing him in the role as James Bond would be great, in my opinion. I think he might be my top candidate. But yeah. He will be able to pull off the look. He looks like a spy. He's in this great physical shape, obviously. He's great. Another one that would be interesting is Richard Madden. This is something that I got from an article, and I didn't really think about him until I actually saw the article. I'm like, okay, he could pull this off. He's got the looks. I saw him in the Cinderella movie. He played Icarus. I think he could really pull off a good James Bond. He really could. He's got that look. He looks like a spy. He looks like he could be, yeah. He's got the look. I think out of all of these, he's the one that has the look. But do I think he has the acting to quite pull it off compared to the other ones? I don't think so. I haven't seen him in a lot of roles. But y'all know me. I go with looks first. Okay? You got to look the part before anything else. I think the acting can go along with it to a certain degree, but you got to look the part. It happened with Robert Downey Jr., even though Robert Downey Jr. was already a great actor, but he looked the part, and guess what? The acting came along with it, because we all know how he got progressively better with Iron Man as the MCU went on. The same thing with Chris Evans. A lot of people didn't like Chris Evans to begin with, but he looked the part, and he was able to blend into that Captain America role. So that is something that is going to happen with the 007 role. So Richard Madden, he's a good-looking guy. He looks the part. Do I think that he could pull it off to a certain degree at some point? I think he can. And moving on to my last prospect, even though there's a lot of ones, Idris Elba was one I left off the list because I really don't. I love Idris Elba, but seeing him had to follow up on the 007 out of Danile Craig, no. That's just me. That's just my personal opinion. Aaron Taylor Johnson. I've seen him in a couple things, and he is probably the one that I've seen that he reminds me of Danile Craig when it comes to his action movies. I haven't seen Craven because I heard of how bad it was, and I didn't want to entice myself to that toxicity of a film. But I'm interested to see it in the future. I want to see. My parents actually watched it, and they said they enjoyed it. But I think Aaron Taylor Johnson could really pull it off. He played Quicksilver in the MCU. He was in something else that I watched, but he could. He's got. Excuse me. He has the characteristics to be able to, acting wise, to pull it off. He really does. If anybody has the acting ability to probably pull this role off charisma wise, I think he does the most. Henry Cavill has a bit of the both the overall. I just don't think Aaron Taylor Johnson looks the part. But this is what's interesting about my prospects here. Henry Cavill's got a mix of both. He could look the part and he can act the part. Richard Madden looks the part, but I don't think he can act the part. Aaron Taylor Johnson looks like he can act the part, but he doesn't look the part. You know what I'm saying? I got a great just variety of everything in my list. And it's something, if the producers, Amy Pascal, David Heyman, hey, if you ever get these castings, give me some kudos first, and or if not, I'll copyright you. I'm just playing. But hey, I think it's a pretty good list. If I'm a producer, I think this is probably what they look like in the debate room when trying to figure out who their next James Bond is. I did read an article, so they're currently already in London getting ready to shoot this bad boy, and they're getting ready to produce it as we speak. So I won't be surprised if we get news of the next James Bond in the next coming months, maybe. Definitely before 2025 ends. But got some big shoes to fill. Daniel Craig did a great job. I went back and watched the movies. Like I said, amazing, great. Just never take for granted. You know, I will never take for granted. I took it for granted, but man, great franchise, great 5 films. Thank you so much, Daniel Craig. Those were my childhood movies growing up, and just going back and watching them and just being able to consume them. They just made me genuinely happy inside. It makes you genuinely happy inside to know that there's still good movies out there from the past, because we know in today's age of movies, not a darn thing's getting made that's actually any good. It was just great cinema. Absolutely great cinema.